Hey everybody, Max Rich, and today we are talking about a little tiny adjustment that you can make to your pentatonic box. Right? Everyone plays the blues, or I think everyone should play the blues. But in any case, if you're a blues player, you're probably super familiar using your blues box. Right? All your standard blues licks. However, the one thing I do think that most, intermediate players could stand to do a bit more of is if you're playing over a blues and you're playing over an A7 chord, for example, right? Everyone uses the blues box, the minor blues box, and that's all well and good. That's fine. There's nothing inherently terrible about that, right? But there is a great way to soup that up. And some players do it and some players don't. I think everyone should do it a bit more. And that is using the sixth of the chord. So if you count through the letters of, like A mixolydian or A7, right? We're playing over an A7 chord. It would be A, B, C sharp, D, E, F sharp, G. So those are the 7 notes, and then it starts back on A. Now the sixth of that is F sharp. A, B, C sharp, D, E, F sharp, right? A lot of players, if you map out the letters of the A minor pentatonic box, and so you have A, C, and everyone bends the C to a C sharp, right? Real common. So C and C sharp, we'll consider both of those the third. And then you have D the fourth, E the fifth, and G the seventh. So you have 1, 3, 4, 5, 7. 1, 3, 4, 5, 7, 1. If you basically take your standard blues licks and replace the 7 with a 6, you can get a huge amount of mileage and have something completely new sounding. For example, if you do something like this, right? That is a super standard lick. Right? If you replace that G with an F sharp, listen to the difference. There's a big difference. Right? You can even play them back to back and use it as like a question and answer idea, right? And that's just one small little trick. You could do a lot more if you start incorporating the sixth, potentially as a replacement for the 7, but you can also use them in combination. And so today I'm going to show you a bunch of licks that basically outline this concept of not entirely avoiding the 7th, but sort of replacing it and using the 6th instead. It gives you a bit more of a major blues sound than it does a minor blues. So it's a very easy way of turning your minor pentatonic box into like an almost major sounding box. And the reason for that is, if you're in any way curious about the theory, well, and if not, too bad, I'm going to tell you anyway. F sharp is the relative minor of A major. So when you're playing over an A7 chord and you're playing in the A minor box, you're technically playing a minor scale over kind of a major chord, But if you play the F sharp minor box over an A chord, well, that lines up just perfectly because A major and F sharp minor are relatives. So when you incorporate that F sharp note into your otherwise minor pentatonic box, you hint at that major sound. It's not completely full major, but you're hinting at it very, very strongly. And you can use that to your benefit. So let's dive into the licks. But before we do, I would kindly ask that you take a trip over to maxrichmusic.com and sign up for the weekly newsletter. It is full of lessons like this. However, they go far more in depth and with much more detail. And the members on my site can directly interact with me. They can send me videos, send me pictures, and I help walk them through the concepts that I talk about, give them tips, personalized advice to help them play better. So if that sounds like something you are into, go ahead and sign up for maxrichmusic.com, the free newsletter, weekly newsletter. In any case, let's go into the licks starting right now. Okay, so lick number 1 sounds like this. Okay, so it's a very common sounding blues lick, and what we're doing, we're starting on the F sharp of the G string, and we're sliding into it. And you could slide from the D, from the E, you can slide from the D, you can slide all the way down from the A. You can slide from wherever you want, right? But it's a slide into the 6, and then going straight from the 6 into A on the 10th fret. And we bounce back and forth between F sharp and A. And then we take that A, and then we play the C natural, right? We're kind of in a minor shape. We're not in our complete, in your standard position 1 minor box, but we are using A minor notes with the exception of the F sharp. Right there. And then, so now we climb up to the high E and we do a little climb down, E, E flat, D. Like that. And then play the C back to the A. And then we mimic that intro lick. Like that. So we have... And then we finish it by taking that B on the 12th fret and just bending it a half step to the C natural. Right there. Now it's not a huge difference, right? It's like, for the most part, most of this is A minor, except instead of using a G, I mean, just listen to the beginning of that. If I used a G instead of an F sharp, it's not bad, but listen to the F sharp. Oh man, that's so much sweeter. That's so much sweeter. Now, there's nothing wrong with the G. You can use the G. In fact, I encourage you to use both. Get as comfortable with the 6 as you are with the 7. Right there. I'll break down a little slower this time. So that was lick 1. Okay, so lick 2, we're jumping up now to high F sharp on the 14th fret. And this is what the lick sounds like. Okay, so it's kind of like an ending lick. It's great for like the end of a phrase if you're going to play like a random a blues phrase and then you want to end it, this is a good way to do it. So what I'm doing, this time I'm highlighting the 6th, but I'm just kind of like tasting the 7. Right? And that's how I'm doing it. I'm starting on the F sharp on the high E, and I'm hammering on to G from the 6 to the 7. And then pulling back off to the 6 before pulling off to the 5. And then jumping back to the 6th and back to the 5. And then I take the C natural and do like a little tiny squeeze bend, hint at the C sharp, and then play the 5 again. And then end on my root. That's a real common blues idea. Now if you incorporate the 6th with that, it sounds pretty sweet. Now, once again, you don't have to play everything exactly the way I'm playing it. It's a good guide and it's like a good sort of roadmap, but you can get there however you want. You don't have to play this exactly this way. You can change the rhythm, you can change the order of notes. something like that. Whatever you want, but the idea of those notes in combination ending on the A is a very, very sweet blues idea. And just for fun, I'm taking the high A and just kind of sliding out of it. There you go. Okay, so lick number 3, we are going to be going back into our minor pentatonic box, and we're going to be doing sort of like a turnaround style lick. And this is what it sounds like. Okay, so another short one, but it's a good way to use the 6. And I'm sliding into the 6. I'm avoiding the 7. I'm using the 6 instead. And just sliding from E to F sharp, and then playing the high A, and then I climb down sort of like a pentatonic scale, except I'm using the 6 instead of 7. So now I'm playing C, A, F sharp, C, A, E. Like that. And then I'm kind of like landing on this E as the last 2 beats of like the turnaround. And then I would be back on the 1. And so after I hit that E, I drop my middle finger onto G sharp, my ring finger onto D, and outline the E7 chord before going back to the root. So, right there. Once again, it's real short, it's real sweet, and it's a great way to incorporate the 6 after whatever kind of natural style blues lick that you want to play. You can play any sort of standard minor pentatonic lick. Right? And use that as an ending for whatever kind of licks you already have in your repertoire. Okay, so for the next lick, I mentioned that you can use the F sharp minor box to give yourself more of a major sound, since it's the relative of A major. And that is exactly what's going to be happening in this lick. So let's check it out. Alright, it's got a bit of a country feel, country blues. And so we're starting on the F sharp. And we're doing that little figure. So F sharp, A, F sharp, C, pull off to A. Now you notice, so far, I mean, we've played a bunch of licks so far, and this idea, F sharp, A, C, has happened in a lot of places, right? It's a very, very common idea, and it's super useful. So I suggest that even if you're going to get anything out of this, which I'd imagine you would, that should be one of them, is this quick little, right? This F sharp, A, C. Right? You could do a lot. You can get a lot of cool sounds with that F sharp, A, and C. So in any case, this is back to the lick. So after that, F sharp, A, F sharp, C to A, then we pull off F sharp to E. And then we take the C on the A string and pull off there. And then we play an open E. And then take the F sharp on the low E string and slide into A. And then we can hit the octave of A if we want for the end of the phrase. Like that. So you see there's like a lot of utility in that stupid little 3-note shape. Okay, now I want you to listen to that. This is a side note. We're going off on a little tangent here, right? That little idea I just played, right? If I use the 7 instead of that, no way. I mean, it's not bad. It's not horrible, but right? And in fact, the most sophisticated would be able to bounce back and forth between those. Right? Now you start incorporating the 6 with the 7 and you get a whole lot of flavor. So that's just a little side note. Keep that in mind as we go on to the last lick. Okay, so the final lick, we are doing sort of like, it's like a chord, it's like a double stop lick, and it's kind of like an aggressive, funky blues thing. So this is what it sounds like. Okay, so it's almost like a Johnny B. Good idea, but it's totally not. So we're taking F sharp and C, and we're thinking about our A minor box, but with the 6 instead. And we're taking the C and the F sharp, and we're sliding into them. And then kind of playing them back to back with 16th notes. Right? Like that. And then we finish that phrase on a double stop, E and A. And then the end of that phrase, we do that same 16th note thing on the F sharp and C. We play a double stop, E and A, and then a double stop, D and F sharp, and then a double stop, C and E, and hammer onto the C sharp. Which, I mean, those last couple are really, really common. That's super common in the blues. Right there. Right there. And you got like a real funky way of playing over an A7 chord. Maybe it's not time for a solo, maybe it's time for just kind of like a background lead part that you want to get aggressive. This is a perfect opportunity to do that. So honestly, we've just kind of scratched the surface with what you can do with the 6th in the chord. In place of the 7, but what I encourage you to do is take all your blues licks, your standard blues licks that you know how to play real well, you can play with your eyes closed. Map them out and see which one of those licks contain a 7, and try to replace that 7 with the 6. It's only going to be a half step below, and should most likely change quite a bit of how that lick sounds, and maybe sometimes it works. There are some cases where you replace the 7 with the 6 and it just doesn't line up nicely. You know, like a good example would be something like this. You know, a lick like that, you know, I'm taking the 7 and I'm bending it kind of to the 1, so if I take the 6, I really have to bend it a lot. But it can work. I mean, it's not horrible, right? The idea is that you experiment enough using the 6th in your playing, potentially in place of the 7. That's how you should get started with this idea, is like take whatever lick you have, replace the 7 with the 6, see if you like it. There is a good chance that a large chunk of your licks will sound equally good or potentially better when you add the 6th in place of the 7th. So do that, and I hope it works out, because there's a lot of cool mileage to be gotten out of using the 6th.